Welcome everybody to the fall series here at Lanes Raceway. Getting underway here, our first race, the IndyCar on the Orange. Already been a pretty big spectacle this morning, or this evening, or afternoon. Already been a pretty big spectacle so far. We've had several people wreck their cars, still working on them to try to get them to where that they'll handle. I think it's going to be a battle royale to see who can keep their cars on. Nonetheless, we're going to run the race anyway, so looks like today might just boil down to who's going to go slow enough to keep their car on and not wreck out for the race. Other than that, we got 4 racers. We got Gunnar Vender on red, Nathaniel Burden on white, Jackson Daugherty on green, and Glenn Burden on orange. Racers, you ready? All right, watch your lights. And here we go. 4 red lights dropping out to a green. Going to check the strikes here. 3 strikes are out. Oops. Let's get our first yellow flag here and a car off in the high banks. That's going to be a strike there for white lane. Another yellow flag there on the backstretch. That's going to be a strike on green. Got another strike here. Oops. It's going to be a strike for orange. Sorry about that. For some reason, it won't let me strike green. Nonetheless, green has a strike. Two people coming off here. Looks like white lane's going to get a strike. It'll be their second. And red lane getting a strike here. Going to be their first. Minute and 29 seconds left in the heat. So we get another yellow flag here. It's going to be 3 for white. The Eagle motor has just a little bit more RPM power, and as you can see, about right there in front of black lane, which will be to the left of Glenn there on his gray shirt, there's a little dip in the track. If they go over that wide open, it tends to make the back end hit really aggressively hard, and when that happens, it'll come out in the high banks. They've been saying that down low it's happening like that too, which there is a tiny blip down low, but what it boils down to is you're just really just a little too quick for the track. Now we are going to end up, when we move down to the next place, we're going to end up flattening the track out. But right now it's just a track, and it's an old meme here at Lanes Raceway that don't forget to blip. So right now it looks like they're doing fine. Everybody under the knowledge and knowing to not go full speed through the backstretch, or they will hydroplane. 24 seconds left to go in the heat. Looks like everybody's pretty neck and neck here. Jackson, Gunnar, and Glenn. Glenn right now out in the lead there on orange lane. All right, that's a red flag rotation. We'll head over here to the strikes and clear those out. Head over to the track mate. So we can see Glenn Burden out in the lead, 29 laps, tied up with Gunnar Vender with 29 laps. Jackson Daugherty there with 27 laps there on green lane, and 4 laps for Nathaniel. I think they said he was bent a little bit. We'll take it over to the oval and let you watch these guys work. We'll be right back with you. A lot of people so far, 13 seconds before we go, a lot of people upset they can't go full speed on the backstretch. But, you know, racing, it's not always about going full speed. Sometimes it's about learning the track, getting your stuff set up, and trying to be faster than the next guy. There's no IndyCar GP track that I know of you can go wide open all the way around every corner. So I've seen people have cars where they can go over the blip wide open, even all the way down to purple lane. They might make it 90 or so laps before it actually gets them one time, but I mean, the thing is, it's not meant on these back stretches, especially on these older tracks like this. They used to have humps in them. They got dips. We put a dip in it so it wouldn't go flying off the track, but you're never meant to go wide open with extremely fast cars on that back stretch. But anyways, I think they're doing fine. It looks like they're figuring out how to run this track, and that's part of the enjoyment of figuring out how to race. It's all going to boil down to whether or not people get across the red, white, and green the fastest. We see Gunnar now in the lead, 44 laps. Jackson Daugherty now in second position. Glenn down into third. When we first opened up, we had this Tom Payton, Paul Woosley, Randy Kirtley. I even built one when we first opened. We've had them where we could run them consecutively across that backstretch. And I mean, it's a concrete floor. The concrete's not changing that much. That's going to be a strike there for red, our first strike. So they're doing quite well keeping them on, better than I thought they would with cars not really set up for it. A lot of them using old tires, I've noticed too, whenever I was teching them. But they were able to pass tech, so. People don't like racing on the orange track a lot of the times when they're big oval heads. It's kind of separation of what a lot of people like to race. A lot of people like racing oval because it's easy. You let off in one spot and you hammer down. But The orange track adds just a little bit extra skill involved, and it requires a little more effort to learn the tracks. So I understand where they're coming from, but at the same aspect, you know, it's only making them better. So we see a lot closer racing here. Probably some of the best racing so far I've seen on the orange right now. Very close side-by-side racing. Everybody knowing that it could end their race career if they go too quick. So they're all kind of matching pace here going down the back stretch. And that's red flag rotation. Nobody coming out and setting out on that heat. We head over here to the track mate. See Gunnar Bender in the lead, 61 laps. Jackson Daugherty, 60. Glenn Burton, 57. 29 Nathaniel, of course, his first heat there, having a little bit of trouble. Even having a little trouble there on red. But it looks like he might have got the bend out of it. He only wrecked one time there on the high banks. This is to be expected. So the upper lanes definitely going to be a lot slower than our middle lanes to the bottom lanes, where people can let her hang out. Not to mention, folks, you know, this is a freshly clean track, so it's not going to have as much grip as it did whenever we had a dirty track. But everybody wanted a clean track this heat or this series, so we cleaned it up and cleaned the oval up, so you can see how much shinier they are. They really don't have a whole lot of rubber buildup. You can kind of see some rubber here in the oval track starting to build there in the high banks a little bit. But for the most part, it's just your standard oil-based paint track with not a lot of grip. Except back here, we can see the averages are really, really close. And I'd say Nathaniel, if he didn't wreck out there, he'd be up in the upper 20s to 30, lower 30 range also. Coming up next, we have the 72 pitch L&P class on the orange. And then our last race for the evening will be on the oval. And that will be on the late model series. You can see Braden there, he's practicing up for this evening's race on the late model series at Lanes Raceway. 47 seconds, we'll be right back with you. I'm going to go grab a drink. I might be just a little late, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on the orange track. I'll be right back with you. All right, I'm back. I just now sat down. Went in and got me a Dr. Pepper. Glenn Burton does have a very fast Indy car for sure. So we see him up there on red lane. He's probably taken red lane the best I've seen so far. We can see him blipping about where Jackson is. Not to say that he ain't going to come out eventually, but he's doing a really good job of blipping in the perfect area to get that nose down and keep that back end from popping. This is just something you got to learn when you're running the Indy car. Now the Indy car is probably the worst about it in all series, but in all series, all cars can come out no matter what flexi it is. We always have a little bit of an issue every once in a while depending on how fast these cars are. Now the issue we got with the Indy car is how light they are in the front end. That power to weight is exponential whenever you're shaving 20 or 30 grams off the front of a flexi chassis. So they just got to remember to keep that nose down. Not a lot of downforce on that nose either, as the body's kind of separated into a T shape versus your normal LMP GTP, which are kind of square all the way to the front, able to hold down more downforce as they go through there. So that helps them keep the cars on. But what we're seeing here out of Glenn is textbook IndyCar racing here. That's the kind of, as we see a car come up and get in front of Glenn there. Actually pulled him out, but they're both going to take a strike there on the high banks. And that's going to be green and red. So Nathaniel definitely having some issues with his IndyCar. Could just be bent from the previous series. I remember when we first ran these here, we were running them wide open, different gear ratios and stuff, and we got them way too quick, and the wrecks were a whole lot harder than what we're seeing here now with the stock gear ratio. So we see now that Glenn's car here might have some issues with his braid. Braid might be just a little high on there. So Glenn's got 30 seconds here. That's only his second strike. Purple getting a strike. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So they pressed the button on Glenn there. It was the big whoa, whoa, whoa going on there. Glenn, of course, having 30 seconds. He didn't need up all 30 there. But that cost everybody a few seconds there, hitting the button early. So I might have to make it known for people for a second. We get a red flag rotation. Well, nope, just cut it right there beforehand. So that's going to be Nathaniel's second strike. He's still in. And nobody moved. Now it's a heat over. Okay. Take here, clear the strikes out here. And move over to the high banks here, and we can see off the track mark Gunner Bender out in the lead, 96 laps, holding it down. Jackson 93, 83 for Glenn Burden, and 57 for Nathaniel Burden. I'll take you over here to the oval and be right back with you. All right, 6 seconds. We'll be running a race over here on the orange. So I'm going to go ahead and click back. I had to pause it there for a second. We had one of the tires out of the shop that didn't have the screw in it. I had to help a guy out, so we went ahead and paused it. Manufacturing issue. We can fix things like that. See Gunnar Bender there right now in the lead. See a strike here for Black Lane. Jackson Doherty currently second position. Eric Glenn Burden only 10 laps down. We see a big old wreck take place here in the donut. We've got 2 people involved in it. It looks like I don't think Jackson was out there, so they'll probably put him back. So purple going to get a strike. Yeah, there we go. Problem solved. So right now, purple and black got strikes. That's Gunnar and Jackson both. Got a hard hit up in the high side there. Looks like a little bit of contact there. And green gonna get a strike there. Got a yellow flag here up in the horseshoe portion of the track. Green and blue there going to get a strike. That looks like another one too. Green, blue, and black. So green and black on their second strikes here. Seconds left to go in the heat. This will be the first race in the Indy for the orange track. When it's all said and done, it'll be two races that'll get counted. But we'll have four races on oval, 4 races on orange. Everybody made it through that round 2. Go ahead and clear the strikes out. Take a look here at the track mate. Gunnar Bender, 32.5 on average laps made, 30.5 for Jackson, and 27.5 for Glenn. Glenn, so far, having that rough run there on red lane, still keeping his stuff pretty good. as we're going to see him go down towards the bottom level of the track now and see how he can perform, where you can actually make some good laps here. Everybody just separated by about 10 laps, so we're going to head over to the oval and let you watch these guys race. We'll be right back with you. All right, I'm back. Minute 51. Looks like we got our first incident here. Black and yellow. Purple, okay. So yellow, purple, and black all getting strikes here. We got another yellow flag here over on cam 2. We can see, looks to be Nathaniel Burden. On purple, going to receive his second here. Having some issues there with the IndyCar around the donut. Right now, Gunnar Vinder out in the lead. 1 minute and 42 seconds left to go with 135 laps. Jackson Daugherty 127. Glenn Burden 115. As we see a wreck between Nathaniel and Glenn take place there in the high banks. So Glenn and Nathaniel, they're going to receive a strike. That's going to be Nathaniel's third there, having issues with that Indy car this week. Two cars involved in the incident there on the horseshoe. Looks like it's going to be second strike for Jackson and second strike for Glenn. Summer Series shirts will be here next week on Thursday. They're finally coming in. We should have our tires for next week. We're going to actually have to add a race to the late model series because we didn't have any tires this week. We sold out from last week, and I ordered another batch, and it seems like everybody's buying them because I talked to Roger, and they had to get another 500 made. So we're just waiting on that. So we'll just go ahead and add another race for the late model at the end. So this one here, in case people wanted a new set of tires, it ain't really going to hurt them. If anything, it just gives them another race to take another stab at it, basically. 1:07 left. We're seeing some pretty good separations here between people here. Best lap right now is a 1.201. I'm thinking that was at the very beginning here. As I don't think these cars can do a lap that quick. But best median looks to be a 3.57 down there on Black Lane for Gunnar Vender. A lot of side-by-side racing here, as we can see here down low on Black Lane. Gunnar leading the way, followed by there on blue, Glenn Burden, and right behind him, Jackson Darty on yellow lane. All right, really good racing between Gunnar, Jackson, and Glenn there at the end. Nobody receiving their third strike there. We're going to go ahead and clear that out. Take you over to the track mate. Let's see some of these averages. 32.8 for Gunnar. He's really doing good down low. 34 and 34 there. Jackson Darty able to do a 33 on purple and a 29 on black, and a 33 there just then on blue lane. Glenn Burden there, 138, averaging 27.6. 28 laps there on blue lane as we continue a little bit lower. Nathaniel Burden there, of course, having some troubles there, but was able to run a 31 on blue, but just 3 laps there on purple lane. Nonetheless, going to take you back here to the high banks, and we'll be right back with you. All right, I'm back, and it looks like we got our first yellow flag here. Let's see, Jackson Daugherty bringing the car around there. And that's going to be purple lane. A lot of people having issues coming out of the track this week. Something I would probably try would be maybe run some medium glue on my tires. It was a popular thing to do back when we was racing last year. It's just enough tack in it to help them stay. Yellow, purple. So Glenn got a strike here. Right now, currently round robin 6 of 8 with a minute 41 left. Gunnar Bender 169 in the lead. Jackson Daugherty 157. Glenn Burden 141. Gunner on the inside there, making a pass on yellow. The yellow flag there. Let's see Gunner's car coming off on yellow. Gunnar Bender very fast down low. But it looks like he increased the speed just a little too much as he come off there in the donut again. This will be his second strike there on yellow. All right, that's the end of the round robin 6 of 8 there. We're going to clear these strikes out. Everybody made it. And we're going to go over here and look here at the track mate and see Gunnar Bender still lead. 32.7 on average, 30.3 on average for Jackson Daugherty, 166 on average for Glenn Burden, and Nathaniel Burden retiring for this race. It looks like he might get back in it maybe after he gets his car set up. Who knows? We'll see. head over to the high banks and we'll be right back with you. Orange. All right, looks like Orange going to get a strike there. All right, 1:40 seconds left in the heat. Gunnar Bender in the lead, 202 total laps. Jackson Doherty 188, Glenn Burden 173. One second, folks. All right, Gerald Whitaker going to get a 1027 on his late model gear ratio. Got a yellow flag here, 39 seconds left to go. We're going to see another strike there for Gunnar, his second. Yellow flag, looks like the car come off up in a horseshoe. Right there on the inside of the horseshoe there, going to be Glenn Burden. right, and we got a red flag rotation. Everybody making it out alive there yet again. So we clear our strikes here and take a look here at the track mate. We can see Gunnar Bender in the lead, 227. 211 for Jackson, 197 for Glenn, and Nathaniel, 91. Take you back over to the high banks. I'll be right back with you. All right, back underway. We got all four racers now. In our final heat here, the IndyCar. Turned out not to be as bad as we thought it was going to be. A lot of guys upset at the very beginning, couldn't keep their cars on full throttle. Now actually learning the track a little bit, back to the modes of what they was when we first opened, where you got to just lift a little bit, let those cars settle down. I think people have got a better mindset of what they're going to do to try to get their car to be a little bit quicker on the next race. But we still got 7 more races, so I mean it's going to be plenty of racing left to go for them to get their cars set up if they choose to do so. So we see there a strike on orange. But 2 of the 4 races that are counted will be orange races, and the other 2 will be oval races for the IndyCar. It's the only class that we race on both tracks for this series. Let's see, Gunnar Bender still out in the lead, holding it all race long, 236 total laps. 221 there. Jackson Daugherty pretty close behind him there on red lanes. He gets involved in an incident. And we see Glenn Burden at 208 and Nathaniel getting his car back in at 100 laps even right now. So we see, actually that was Gunnar car involved in an incident. Gunnar and Nathaniel there are going to take strikes. See Glenn Burton there looking over Nathaniel Burton's car. Looks like we might have had an issue there with Nathaniel's car. He's going to go ahead and retire it, it looks like. For red lights drop out to green, here we go. Good smooth racing so far. We see here Glenn and Jackson there side by side rolling through. Final 10 seconds here. Looks like Gunner going to be first place, Jackson second, Glenn Burton third place, and Nathaniel there in fourth. All respectfully saying, with as many people as it's in this series here, good points for all of them, to be honest. We'll head over here and clear the strikes out. Don't forget, coming up next on the orange is going to be the Group 12 class, or not Group 12 class, sorry about that, the 72 pitch L&P class, and the GRCs on the oval. Okay. A little bit of a glitch there towards the end. As you can see, the racers there behind me, Gunner are going to get 256 laps, 241 for Jackson, 228 for Glenn, and 100 for Nathaniel. And of course, points will go 100, 95, 90, 85. Thank you guys for tuning in to this week's Orange IndyCar race. Next week it'll be, of course, on the oval. Coming up next, the 72 pitch L&P class on the orange track. Hope you guys will stay tuned for that. God bless you. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you then.